example, when our MNA from Chetupura, Javed Saab, he said something of that sort. A case was opened against him, and then if you remember in the Kashmir elections, one of our members from PMLN, a candidate of PMLN, said something regarding India, and everyone condemned. So in Pakistan, what the history we have, we've seen that the armed forces of the military establishment have come into politics. There have been coups. So when you're criticizing on the fact that the constitution should be implemented, that is something else. And when you criticize and when you say that we are the good ones and officers should support us and they should not listen to the senior officers, and they should stand up against that because, we are the good ones. That is something else. That is, I think, you're inciting mutiny. You're inciting the command, the system in the army, and that was wrong. That is where they crossed the line.
Okay. But Rana Sahab, as far as reports, there has been some, as far as PTI leadership is concerned, they're talking about the treatment as Shehbaz Gill Saab has been meted out to him, the way that he's being investigated, all of those things. Can you comment on that? Because we've seen comments from the Islamabad police, as I understand, saying and categorically saying that there has been no manhandling, there has been no torture, those allegations are inaccurate, incorrect.
Well, you see, Maro, have you ever seen a video of the US police trying to arrest a person who has committed some offense, and when they resist, the police uses force? So, in Pakistan, we need to learn to respect the police, and when police is trying to perform its duty, we cannot be a hurdle in that. If someone comes to arrest me, I have two options. Either I resist or fight back, or I give up and surrender. So when the police comes, we should all surrender and not resist and fight. Because if we do, then obviously the police is going to use force to implement their orders. What we saw in that video was that, first of all, there was a propaganda that people in civilian clothes came. No, there was a police van and police officials, and they tried to knock on the window and ask Shehbaz Gill to come out. When he did not comply, they had to enforce the arrest that according to the FIR, and that is what they did. So I think, I would agree with the police statement, and I would also, from your platform, tell to the audience that we cannot put hurdles when law enforcement is, doing what they're supposed to do. You have to comply. And when you don't comply with what they're trying to implement, then they can use force and things can get messy.
Rana Sahab, let me come back to you, but I want your comments on Imran Khan Saab, when he spoke and talked about a conspiracy against PTI being hatched. He talked about the fact that this was, him being pitted against the armed forces and it was part of a conspiracy. Let me come back. I want your comments on this. Amir Saab, the same question to you.
Sorry, can you?
As far as, let's put this to Rana Sahab and then I'll come back to you. Rana Sahab, how would you answer Imran Khan Saab's assertion that this is a conspiracy and his party is being pitted against the armed forces?
Well, you see, the conspiracy is that Imran Khan keeps on saying that the military or the establishment should not be neutral. Then he talks about, even animals are not neutral. Then he says that, if a guard of a house he has to take sides. He cannot be neutral. So the demand of what Imran Khan is demanding from the military is unconstitutional. By the constitution, they have to be neutral. So by these demands, he himself is making a controversy. He himself is making a conspiracy. No one is pushing him to make these statements, these bizarre statements that he keeps on making. So I think, I would... I feel that it is about time that all political parties should agree on the point that the establishment of the military should play its role. It has a vital, important role, but it should be according to the Constitution. Well, I think, the political debate is really off track. The situation of the economy is dire, and it is the need of the day that the opposition and the government should be working together on a minimalistic level of understanding regarding the economy and how things are required to move forward. While on the other side, we have this, party PTI, which is on a, totally different tangent. They are saying that we are doing jihad, it's a holy war. They're bringing in religion. They are saying that it is a war against all corrupt, whereas they themselves are tainted. You've seen the $250 million money laundering case where 650 canals have been donated by a property tycoon to them for clearing out that money laundering issue. And similarly, the Tosha Khana case and now the foreign funding, and the list goes on. But yet, they keep on repeating their narrative of being clean. And the fact that, their members just ignore this and keep supporting him and do not ask questions, that is also surprising. So I think, the debate needs to come back to reality. The debate should be on performance. The debate should be on deliverables. But sadly, I think, it has been, the people are being misguided. They are being, a narrative of conspiracy is being built. And I think, over time, they are being exposed. Like just now, the
That's
US
what I mean. I
conspiracy
think
has been
this
exposed.
episode has particularly exposed the PTI, you think?
Well, I think for a man who runs on common sense, things are pretty clear. That they gave a red carpet to the U.S. ambassador. They got donations of 36 cars. Where they said that we want Khud Mukhtari, and we saw that they've been hiring lobbyists in the USA, so they can do lobbying in the US in their favor. So all of this, for anyone who has basic common sense, would realize that their political rhetoric is different from their real politics or what they believe in and what their performance was. So I think over time these conspiracy theories cannot pass the test of time and pass the test of truth. So truth will obviously overcome these conspiracies. But when they were kicked out of government, Imran Khan said that the deal or the conspiracy was that if the no confidence is successful, then all the loans will be forgiven and things will improve. And yes, it is unsuccessful, then the economy will go down. And then it was proven wrong that no loans were forgiven. Actually, we had to really stretch ourselves to get the IMF deal to pass. So that propaganda failed. And then later on, he started saying that, they're going to make Pakistan become like Sri Lanka. So they actually forget the lies they tell to the public, but after each week, there is a new story which comes up. Now, obviously they're denying this lobbying or, they're denying that they're not doing it. But all of this shows that they have no stance. Their stance keeps on changing. But the surprising thing is that their followers or, the way the media is handling it, they don't ask these questions. That how can you change your narrative so many times and so quickly? Anyone, and that is the reason I think that Imran Khan does not come in front of the media. He does not do a press conference. He just comes and he gives his narrative and that's it. There are no questions asked. And whenever some journalist does ask a question, then you see that, he got angry and he shut him off. So, I guess what is required today is journalism which asks the right